is Ifeanyi, like you just said. I'm the CEO of the company, and I have my team here with me. Our company, Chattel Realty, is actually still a company in its infancy, like you rightly pointed out. And we actually set up this company with the mindset of contributing to the housing development, housing deficits, in the country. There's this figure that has been thrown around from time to time since 2012, or probably earlier, that there's about 17 million housing deficits in Nigeria. In my opinion, actually, it's gone way beyond that, because there's been this rapid urban migration, people moving from the rural areas to the urban areas. And I think the numbers has grown, even though we don't like to tell ourselves the truth too much, but that number has grown. So we came on board as a real estate development company, not a management company. One of the strategic things we did as a company was to create a product we call Palms Villa. Palms Villa is a product with a promise, it's a brand. The brand we're nurturing and hoping that over time, in the next few years, we'll be able to develop it into what the entire country will eventually come to appreciate. The Palms Villa concept was born to address this need, help in closing this housing gap. But we also probed further and realized that our consumers, or those who buy into real estate, have this other problem of, so some of them have bought into lands in different locations, have gotten their fingers burnt. Some buy lands and down the road they find out that these lands get missing. Stories come upon, stories on one story or the other come up, and they lose their land eventually. So we thought it fit that with Palms Villa we can be able to address that problem. So we talk to traditional landowners, we go into negotiations with them, we secure property, we do our due diligence, and then we present the product to the community, to consumers. Now those of them who are buying into our housing estates automatically stand to protect their investments. They don't have to fear that. There's no fear of them losing out like it used to be in the past. So Palms Villa was born to provide that form of solution. And beyond doing that, Palms Villa was also born to create a very quality environment for those who want to actually build their houses, who are looking for where there's adequate infrastructure, who are looking for amenities, anything that will make their house a real home for them. So we acquire and make sure we provide this infrastructure. We don't just buy and wait like most housing estates do. Because if you look around, you find out that 70% or 80% of who do what we do is called a site and service model. So we buy land, provide infrastructure, and then people buy these lands, and then hopefully with time these lands appreciate as quickly as possible. So when they buy into our housing estates, we make sure that these infrastructures are being worked on. So if you go to our Palms Villa estate, which was the very first one we started in Ikorodu, our phase 1, you would appreciate the extensive work we have done there. For a company that just started this earlier this year, people would acquire and leave it for the next 2, 3, 4 years. Nothing is going on there. But we rapidly came on board and realized that these things needed to be done. So we did it, and now people are very happy. Those who have invested in us are very happy. The other thing we try to do also as a solution provision is to, these infrastructures have been helping our housing estates to appreciate as quickly as possible. So people want to buy into something and hopefully down the road, those who are buying for investment purpose, buying and hoping that down the road they're going to be able to get quick returns on their investment. So it's one of those things we're doing with Palms Villa Estate. So you're buying to Palms Villa Estate, you're sure that within a short period of time, you'll be smiling because you'll be getting the quick returns you want. If I'm to play with figures, when we started selling for about 550,000 naira. This was earlier this year. As of today, we're selling about 750,000 naira. It's usually not a norm in this industry, but even with that, people still don't mind. They're still buying into it because they can see for themselves what we're doing there. So it's something we all take pride in. We're very happy to do that. It's something we have passion for, and it's something that we will continue to do with our other estates that will be coming up. We also have something in Lekki. That one also, we are also making efforts to see to it that these estates are going to be developed for those who are interested in buying into our estates. The other one is basically reserved for, or basically designed for people who are looking to invest to reap gains in the future. So that's what we have been doing since we started. Thank you.
When you talk about value, what comes to mind is expensive. People see, when you talk about value to people, what comes to mind is, oh, it's going to be very expensive. But we came on board to change that notion or that belief in people that you can actually get value at an affordable price. So our major core value, one of our major core values is affordability plus value. Getting value in a very affordable price. Like when I was telling somebody, down the line, prices in our estates will be like very expensive because of the value that is inside the estate. People will get value for what they are acquiring, for what they are buying at a very affordable rate. And again, we provide infrastructure. Like the ND was saying, we are not the kind of people that will just collect money from you and go away. We provide basic infrastructure and we make it comfortable and convenient for people. It's cut across all board. If you don't have much, there's a plan for you. If you have money, there's a plan for you. We even make it as low as weekly payments for people that don't really have, because some people really desire to have home or land, but they don't have this huge cash. So we thought about it, what can we do for this set of people? Because it's like the community has forgotten them. Bank won't borrow them money. There's no hope of getting a property in the next 10 years. So we came with a plan of weekly payment. You can pay as low as 2,500 weekly or 11,000 naira monthly. Before you know it, in a tickle of an eye, you own a land for yourself. And we also have a payment plan like that we're coming up for the housing scheme. So you don't have to wait till you get that whole 2 million or 5 million before you get a house. We know the kind of economy we have. It's not easy to get this bulk cash at once. So we have planned for everybody. Our company factor every income earner, both low, medium and high. We have planned for everybody. Thank you.
I've listened attentively to the presentation. Good ideas. My question is to the business development manager. You talked extensively about providing infrastructure. You have never mentioned what type of infrastructure you're putting on ground. Roads, electricity, water. What sort of infrastructure do you have that will attract me to come to your estate?
The basic infrastructure, access road. Then we have a layout that makes the estates very accessible and well. The estate is well planned. And everything is going to go by the layout that we have. When we talk about infrastructure, we have basic roads. Roads are there. We have drainages. It's not a place where you just sell land to people and people will start building anywhere. It's a well-planned estate with layouts. And we, on our own part, we've started the infrastructures. The road, construction of the roads, the drainages, and the electricity. So the basic infrastructure we are talking about is the roads, electricity, recreation centers. We have recreation centers for the people that are going to live in the estates. We are going to have floodlights, although those ones are still ongoing. Floodlights around the estate. It's a well-planned estate that is still under construction. But those things are in plans, and eventually they are going to come up.
You talk more about land. Are you into just site and service, or you are into development of estates? And if you are into development of estates, how many are you or do you have in mind? And when do you want to start? And what is the project plan for that, if you have that in mind? That's one. Then secondly, what is the size of the land bank? Do you have land bank? What is the size of land bank that you are now calling the public to come and invest into? And then what are the documents on those landed properties that the would-be buyers or investors would get as securities on those land? And possibly the families that you are in partnership with, but definitely, like if it's Oboro now, maybe the Oboro Shoki family, the Oba and all those stuff. So I think it's good you put those details in perspective.
Our current business model latches on to site and service. Now, even within site and service, what we also do is some of them who buy into our estates also want to develop these estates. They want to live in them. So we also provide as a service to them, to build for them. So that's the nature of the site and service. Now, yes, we have plans. For me, this is just a strategic move for me for some reason to start your site and service scheme. But we have this plan within the next 2-3 years to begin the housing schemes. Okay, so it goes way beyond just providing infrastructures for people to buy into land. We are also planning on building houses. But the problem is that the country we live in right now, there's so many challenges associated that even though, yes, people are really doing that, but you find that most of the developers in this business pay more attention to the site and service model, and there's a good reason for it. So we have plans to actually begin our housing estates. So we'll go way beyond that, and we're going to provide housing estates affordable, because he said business manager said something. Affordable is really key. Affordability is really very key for us. So we intend to actually start housing estates that are going to be affordable to those who are first-time home buyers, especially, because there are a lot of people out there really want their own homes. They really, really, really want their own homes, but for some reason or the other, it's very difficult for them to do it. And we are here to provide that platform. Our first estate, we have about 60 acres right there. 60. Yes, 60 acres. But truthfully, it doesn't mean that we are stopping at 60 acres there. This is just a figure we are starting off with. If we see the need to actually expand beyond that, that would be very fantastic for 60 acres. But that is where we are starting from. Our Ibejuleki site is sitting on about 20-22 acres. Again, it doesn't stop there. There's also room for expansion, which we are hoping that we'll take advantage of as well. I'm not supposed to say what I'm about to say next, because we're cooking it up, and it's going to come out any moment. I'm sure by early next month we'll begin to hear about that, because we have a second phase for our Abuwa housing estate. Yes, we have a second phase for it, and the reason why we have a second phase is because people have actually bought into what we have already in phase one. They're happy. We're not too far from from selling out on that, because you have seen that there are people who really want these things. So we're already creating that second part of it. So the second phase, I'm sure we'll be looking at about 70 acres as well. But this is something we are still cooking up. If you like to push it out there, fine. It's okay. It's not a bad idea. But it's something it's still work in progress. Documentation. What we are promising we have been promising our subscribers is that all our lands will come out with CO. That's for certain. We have, during our due diligence, we had done certain things, and certain documentations have been taken care of in terms of our surveys, which have been registered with Lagos State government. We have a registration number for people who want to go and verify and be sure of what they are doing. So we have that. We have deed of assignment, which is covering the estate as well. So we have our CO, which is already in progress. Same thing with our Ibejileki, axis. There's an excision being worked on, so that will be available, and we also have provided our subscribers with COO for. It's going to be a global COO, which will cover all the lands. But so for those of them who are looking for individual documentation, they can go ahead and do their, what you call them, governor's consent, But the COO will definitely provided for them. So these are the documentations we have. We have a layout as well, like he has pointed out. So that's part of what we have on ground.
Currently, the economy is tanking. And a lot of people are complaining. Have you factored the inflation that will be incurred by this tanking economy into what you are doing?
We appreciate the fact that things are difficult right now. There's no doubt about that. Things are very difficult. And even as much as things are difficult, people still want some of these things, because housing is a very, very basic necessity for Nigerians and human beings in general. So we factored this in, and that's why we came up with all these creative payment plans, which he has already mentioned. If you look around you, you'll probably not find anybody who is telling you to come and pay on a weekly basis. You probably will not see that. So flexibility is one way we have been able to, is a platform we have provided for the people to, that little you can pay. You don't even have to buy a full plot. On a half plot, you can do so much on a half plot. Is there people who are looking for extra space, they're probably thinking of full plots, or who are thinking of, okay, maybe in the future I can add something on top of this, who have investment mindset, and probably ones who are probably looking for full plot. So we have done it. I mean, if I'm telling you to come and pay 2,000 plus every week, I think it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all. It's a way of just making it as flexible as possible. So even that market woman who is outside, who is trading, petty trader, who is doing her best to provide for her family, we give them these options and opportunities to just put aside 2,500 every week. If you trade from Monday to Friday or Saturday, out of that amount you have made, after mega amount you have made, you can actually push out 2.5. 2.5 is almost nothing. So it's one way we have tried to encourage people who don't have a lot of money to come into our schemes. So it's just the major thing we have looked at. If you're investing in Palms Villa Estate, you're investing with all security guaranteed. So please, people out there, parents, folks, everybody, just think about it and see what you can do to be part of us. And we're here to support you and advise you.